I didn't mean to stare at her hands that long. It just happened. The way her fingers gripped the edge of the couch, veins just slightly visible beneath her skin. She exhaled slowly, like she was carrying more than just furniture. "Ready?" she asked, already lifting her end before I could nod. Her name was Leah, my best friend Ryan's mom. 45, divorced, house full of half-packed boxes and quiet music playing from her phone in the kitchen, the kind of music people only listen to when they're trying not to feel alone. I was just supposed to help her move a couch. That's it. A favor. A quick in and out before lunch. But I stayed. Not just because the couch got stuck in the hallway. Not because she offered iced tea and one of those half smiles that felt too personal. I stayed because something about the way she moved, focused, careful, tired, made me want to be near her longer than I should. "Push it against the wall," I asked. She nodded, brushing hair out of her face with the back of her hand. "Yeah, that works." We both stepped back and looked at the living room. Everything was halfway finished. Paint swatches still taped to the walls. A half-assembled bookshelf. A lamp turned on even though it was noon. "It's weird," she said suddenly. "When someone leaves, your house stops knowing what to do with itself." I didn't know what to say, so I didn't. She sat on the armrest of the couch, rubbing her palms like they ached. I sat across from her on a moving box labeled winter coats. I didn't want to ask about her divorce, or about Ryan, or about anything that would make her pull that wall back up. Instead, I asked, "Why'd you choose this paint color?" She glanced at the swatch still stuck to the wall, a soft, moody blue. It made the room feel less echoey. I nodded. "Yeah, it's calm." She looked at me, really looked, and for a second, it felt like the quiet in the room wasn't about the house anymore. "You're kind," she said. I didn't expect that. I looked down, suddenly aware of my hands, my posture, the stupid dust stain on my jeans. "I think you needed someone to help," I said. "That's all." Her smile faded into something softer, like she wanted to say something else, but didn't. She reached for the glass of iced tea on the windowsill and took a sip. Her hand shook just slightly. Outside, a truck rolled by, and the low rumble filled the silence. When it faded, neither of us moved. "I'm not used to having someone stick around," she said, not quite looking at me. I wanted to say, I didn't mean to leave so soon either, but I just nodded. The air felt different now, like we'd stepped too close to something invisible, something we both felt but couldn't name. Then the doorbell rang. She blinked, turned her head toward the front hallway, but didn't move. I stood up slowly, my heart weirdly loud in my chest. She looked up at me, and for the briefest moment, her eyes held mine longer than they should have. Not by accident. "Don't answer it yet," she said softly. And I didn't. She didn't move when the doorbell rang again. Just sat there on the couch armrest, hand wrapped around her glass like it gave her something to hold on to. "I think it's the guy picking up the dresser," she said after a moment. Her voice sounded normal again. Too normal. I nodded and walked to the door, but my chest was tight like I'd just walked out of something I wasn't supposed to be in. After the guy left with the dresser, a quiet, awkward exchange with too many thank yous, I stepped back inside. She was standing by the window now, her arms crossed, eyes following the moving truck as it pulled away. "Ryan told me you got out of that long relationship," she said without looking at me. I hesitated. "Yeah, a few months ago." She turned toward me, raising an eyebrow. "You okay?" "I am now," I said, and I regretted how quickly that came out. She smiled, or something close to it, and walked past me toward the kitchen. I followed. There were tea rings on the counter, a half-eaten granola bar, a phone screen lit with missed messages she didn't check. 6 years, she said, reaching into the cupboard. That's how long I stayed after I knew it wasn't working. 6. You think that makes me stupid? I shook my head. No, I think it makes you human. She paused with her back to me. I couldn't see her face, but I could see the way her shoulders dropped, just slightly. I'm too old to be unsure of things, she murmured. You're not, I said. She turned. Her expression was different now, softer, but sharper too, like she was watching me more closely than before. You're Ryan's age. I nodded. You're Ryan's friend. Another nod. She wasn't wrong. She looked at me like she was waiting for me to realize how wrong this was. I wanted to pretend I hadn't already thought about it. that I hadn't been thinking about her since that one time last summer, the barbecue at their place, when she'd smiled at something I said and brushed her hair behind her ear with fingers that lingered near her cheek. But I couldn't pretend. Not when she was standing right there in a worn t-shirt and jeans, barefoot on a tile floor that hadn't been mopped in weeks. She looked real, not polished, not like someone trying to be anything for anyone. And I think that's what undid me. I should finish the shelves, I said finally. She moved toward the cabinet again, but stopped to pick up a small picture frame lying face down near the sink. It was her, Ryan, and someone else. A man. Her ex, probably. They all looked younger in it. Not happy, just unaware. She set the frame down without turning it over. Then, as I walked past her to the living room, her fingers brushed my arm. Not a full touch, just enough to make me stop. When I turned back, she wasn't looking at me, but she didn't pull her hand away either. The next day, Ryan texted, "Yo, you helped my mom yesterday?" I stared at the message longer than I should have, thumbs hovering. Yeah, just the couch. Just the couch. I almost added a smiley face. Deleted it. I hadn't told him I stayed for hours, that we drank iced tea and barely talked about anything, but somehow it felt like everything. That her hand brushed mine like it didn't mean anything, but it did. When I showed up again that afternoon, with a drill and some leftover screws in my jacket pocket, I told myself it was to finish the bookshelf. She opened the door like she'd been expecting me, but said, "You didn't have to come." "I wanted to," I said, then quickly added, "to help." With the shelf. We avoided eye contact for the first 5 minutes. Me kneeling on the floor, her folding blankets into boxes that didn't need to be packed yet. "I saw the picture frame," I said. She didn't look up. "The one in the kitchen?" I nodded. "That him?" "Yeah." She folded slowly. "Ryan's dad. Haven't seen him in 2 years. He only calls when he wants to feel like a good person." Silence. Then she added, "You shouldn't be here." I paused mid-drill. "Why not?" "Because you look at me like you don't care what this is." I stood. "I don't even know what this is." Her eyes found mine, and there was something defensive in her expression, like she was already preparing for a goodbye I hadn't said. Then, from the hallway, "Mom." "Ryan." She stepped back instinctively. I froze. Her hand brushed my back, this time not soft, but urgent. "I didn't know he was stopping by," she whispered. She walked out of the room before I could say anything, calling out with practiced calm, "In here." I stood there, heart pounding like I'd done something wrong. I had, but I didn't even know what name to give it. Their voices drifted down the hallway, casual, mother and son, updates about school and a job interview, while I stood in the living room surrounded by boxes and a half-built bookshelf. Then Ryan popped his head in. "Oh hey bro, didn't know you were coming back." I forced a grin. "Yeah, figured I'd finish what I started." He nodded. "Cool." Looked at the shelf. "Mom must be happy. She's been stressed lately." His words stung more than they should have. After a few minutes, he left, something about meeting a friend. Leah didn't come back into the room right away. I waited. When she did, her shoulders were tight, jaw clenched. She looked like someone who just walked out of a fire pretending not to be burned. "You should go," she said. "I don't want to." Her voice was quieter. "I do." But when I walked past her toward the door, her hand touched mine again. No words. Just pressure. Just hesitation. Like her body didn't believe what her mouth was saying. It rained the next time I came over. Hard. Fast. The kind that makes you stay longer than you planned. I hadn't even brought a jacket. My shirt clung to my arms, soaked through before I reached the porch. She opened the door slowly, wearing a dark green sweater that looked too soft to be hers. Her hair was tied up messily. No makeup this time. Just her. "You're soaked." "I know." We stared at each other. No smile. No small talk. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was charged. Like every word might tip something over. I stepped inside. The lights were low. One lamp on in the corner. No music. Just the hum of the fridge and the storm outside. "You shouldn't keep showing up," she said, not looking at me. I didn't answer. I peeled off my wet hoodie, suddenly self-conscious in the thin white t-shirt clinging to my back. She glanced once. Then again. Her mouth opened like she might say something, but she didn't. "Why haven't you told Ryan?" I asked. She turned. "Told him what?" That his friend can't stop looking at me like he doesn't care who sees. Her voice wasn't angry. It was scared, and mine was quieter. Maybe I don't care who sees. She stared at me for a long time, her arms wrapped around herself. Not cold, just closed. I haven't let anyone touch me in over a year, she whispered. And you walk in here like you belong in this house. I don't care about the age, or the label, or how wrong it looks, I said. I just know it doesn't feel wrong when I'm here. She laughed once, short and shaky. You're a boy, and I've lived long enough to know what that kind of wanting turns into. You don't think I've thought about that? I said louder now, about how this could go wrong. I've tried to not feel this. Every time I leave, I tell myself I won't come back. And then I do. Because something happens when I'm around you, and I don't know what to do with it. She didn't speak. Her hand reached for the countertop, like she needed something to hold. You feel it too, I said. She looked at me like she hated that I was right. Say you don't, I challenged. She walked toward me, slow, careful, then stopped inches away. I could feel her breath. I didn't dare move. I shouldn't. I know. Her hand reached up. Fingers grazed my face, hesitating near my jaw. Her eyes locked on mine, unblinking, terrified. And then, a knock on the door. We both flinched. She pulled back like she'd touched fire. Her eyes wide, her chest rising fast. Don't move. I didn't. Outside, the knock came again. Louder. Whoever was on the other side of that door, they were about to change everything. The knock turned into a voice. Mom? It's me, Ryan. My throat closed. Leah didn't look at me. She didn't have to. Her body went rigid, her fingers pressing into the kitchen counter like she was holding the whole house in place. He wasn't supposed to come today, she whispered, already moving. He said tomorrow. I stepped back, heart hammering in my chest. Do you want me to go? She snapped. Then softer, almost pleading, please. Through the back. I turned toward the kitchen exit, but paused. Her voice pulled me back. Wait, she said. I looked over my shoulder. Her eyes met mine. Wet, afraid, and something else, like she wanted to memorize me in case it was the last time. Then she said it, quietly, almost like a confession she hadn't planned to make. He knows. What? I think he'd saw something. I found his phone in the hallway yesterday. The camera was on. He was testing a new lens, but her voice cracked. I don't know what he saw. The room tilted. You think he saw us? She nodded once. Barely. Another knock. This time more insistent. Mom, can you open up? Leah wiped her face, breathing fast. You have to go? Now. I didn't move. She turned to me with a different kind of look now, like the brief spell between us had broken. This can't happen again, she said. Whatever this was, it's done. And that should have been it. A line drawn. An ending. But I felt it break inside me, something soft turning sharp. You're just scared, I said. She flinched. Of course I'm scared. He's my son, and you're his friend. Do you even understand what kind of damage this could do? I'm not a kid, Leah. You're 26. And you're not happy. That one hit. She blinked like I'd slapped her. The door unlocked from the outside. He has a key. I panicked. I didn't even grab my hoodie. I ducked through the back hallway and slipped into the rain, just as the front door opened and Ryan's voice echoed inside. I stood behind the garage, soaked again, hidden like I'd done something filthy. And then my phone buzzed. Ryan, you were at my mom's again, weren't you? I stared at the message, hands frozen, rain dripping off my chin. Another text came in immediately after. Ryan, just be honest. I saw the camera footage. My stomach dropped. There it was, the twist. No more secrets. No more pretending this was something we could keep tucked between cardboard boxes and moving day silence. He knew. And now? Now, everything was about to collapse. I didn't reply to Ryan's texts. I just drove. Nowhere specific, just far enough from their house that I could breathe without feeling like I'd broken something I couldn't fix. The rain kept coming. Heavy, like it was trying to erase the past few days. By the time I pulled over, my hands were still gripping the wheel like I was bracing for impact. Then the phone rang. Leah. I let it ring once. Twice. Then I answered. She didn't say anything at first. I didn't either. Then he's gone. I didn't ask where Ryan went. Didn't matter. I could hear it in her voice. He hadn't screamed. He hadn't cried. That kind of quiet meant he said very little, and it had landed harder than any shouting ever could. I told him the truth, she said. Not all of it, but enough. I waited. He didn't look at me the same, not even a little. Her voice cracked, and I pictured her in that dim living room, barefoot, sweater sleeves pulled over her hands like armor. I thought it would feel like a relief, she whispered. Finally being honest. But it just hurts. Do you regret it? I asked. Long pause. No, not the truth. Just that it came out like this. I closed my eyes. Rain tapped against the windshield like a ticking clock. Then she asked, softly, but clearly, why you? It wasn't judgment. Just rawness. I exhaled. Because when I'm around you, I feel more like myself than I do with people my own age. And you never try to make me smaller. She didn't speak. And when you look at me, I added, you see me. Not who I'm supposed to be. Just me. I heard her swallow. Could feel the weight of her silence like gravity between us. I've ruined something with my son, she said. I don't know if I can come back from that. I didn't mean to make you choose. You didn't, she said. But life kind of did. I could hear it in her voice. The guilt, the regret, the ache of wanting something she'd spent her whole life thinking she wasn't allowed to have. I almost told her I loved her. I almost asked her to say screw it, to meet me halfway. But instead I said, so what now? And she answered, I don't know. But I know I want to see you. One more time. Not to figure it out. Just to not hide. I gripped the phone tighter. Tonight. She paused. Yeah, she whispered. Just come as you are. The line went dead, and I sat there in the dark, heart beating out of rhythm, knowing nothing was certain anymore. But whatever this was, it wasn't over yet. She met me at the park. Same one where Ryan and I used to play basketball after school. Now it felt smaller, quieter, like the past was still clinging to the chain-link fence. Leah stood by the bench near the old oak tree. No makeup. Same sweater. Hands tucked into the sleeves again. I walked up slowly. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened when she saw me. I wasn't sure you'd come, she said. I wasn't sure you'd ask. We sat side by side, not touching, just breathing the same late summer air. Cicadas buzzed somewhere in the trees, and the grass was still damp from the rain. I talked to Ryan again, she said finally. I looked at her. Yeah. He's hurt. Confused. But not cruel. He just said, do what you want, Mom. Just don't lie to me about it anymore. That landed harder than I expected. Because it wasn't permission. It was surrender. A son who loved his mom enough to step back, even when it hurt. You okay? I asked. She shrugged. No. But I'm here. We sat in silence for a while. Then she spoke again. I used to think I was done with all this. Feelings. Risk. Wanting someone. It gets easier, you know? Not needing anything. I glanced at her hands. They weren't shaking anymore. And then you showed up, she added. With a stupid drill and wet shoes and no idea what you were walking into. I smiled. It was just supposed to be a couch. She laughed, not loud, but real. The kind that rises from somewhere you forgot existed. I'm still scared, she said. Of messing this up. Of getting it wrong. Of what people will say. I'm scared too, I admitted. She looked over. Then what do we do? And this time, I didn't hesitate. We just try. She exhaled slow. Like that word, try, was enough to hold on to. We didn't kiss right away. No grand ending. No music swelling in the background. Instead, she reached over and took my hand. That was it. Fingers laced between all the uncertainty. No promises. No pretending. Just us, sitting in a public park with the weight of everything between us, and choosing, quietly, to carry it together. There are still moments I think about that day. About how nothing really got fixed. How awkward the holidays were that year. How Ryan and I stopped talking for a while, but didn't stay strangers. But when Leah looks at me now, when she laughs at something dumb I say, or brushes her hand against mine while we cook dinner, I know we didn't choose the easy thing. We chose the true thing. And maybe that's enough. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Let me know in the comments. Your voice helps shape what comes next. Speech Balloon Broken Heart.